Yo guys, what's up? Today we're going to be making a modern minimal house track, and we're just going to dive straight into it today. We're going to be doing all sorts of fun things, including synth lines, custom percussive loops, processing basses, kick layering, you name it. We'll just go straight into it. So I got this cool new pack. It's called Dark Magic Modern Minimal House Sample Pack. So we're going to be getting some nice minimal samples in here. We've got some MIDI and some one-shots. So let's start by getting a bit of a groove going. There's even a groove folder. Some pre-made stuff in there, sounds alright. Let's start with some drums. Cool, so we've got some nice stuff going on here. Let's just start by building our drop and then we'll go from there. Cool, so we've got some kicks. And we're just going to compress everything to our kick drum to get that nice authentic groove sound, and we're also going to EQ out the low end of this clap. Some of the low end and sidechain that to the kick. That sounds right. And now we're going to get some hi-hats. Drums. Nice, some lovely shuffly hi-hats. I'm just using my ears to determine what sounds good, what will work well together, and then that will mould the track. Stuff I've heard on the floor. So that sounds pretty dope. Okay, so that's cool. We can loop this little section. Okay, so with our percussive loops, I'll show you what I do. So I get the bits that I like, and then I'm just going to make a percussive loop out of different parts, and I'm going to colour them differently so you can see, you know, what we're doing here, and it's going to create this really shuffly, groovy, cool kind of, hopefully, thing. So that's our percussive loop. That's so cool. Alright, so we can actually just make a really long one because we're at that level now. But it could just duplicate this along, and then we'll just keep cropping little bits, and you're actually getting this custom percussive loop, which sounds really cool, and just shaping it to get the sounds that we want really easily. So this is what it sounds like now. Well, actually, I'll do some different colours just so you guys can see we're going all in. And making a nice little loop. Da-da-da. Not endorsing gambling, that is. I mean, go for it. Alright. Oh, that sounds so dope. Alright, let's keep going. I want you guys to be able to do this at home, but, you know, I'm sure you can do this, chopping up some percussive loops. Make them sounding nice and good. We can always edit these as well, make them shorter, longer, just getting the bits that we like out of it, and then when you get like 10 or so that you like, you can really get away with like 4, but the more you like, you know, the more you put together, you just get this really cool custom percussive loop, which is always good for originality and creating that rhythm. To make things interesting, keep changing these colours. This one's a bit heavier, we'll chuck that in. Sure, it'll sound good. And how much longer have we got left? We've actually gone way over. Oh no, we've actually got quite a long way still. Alright, and then I think I'll do one more. Just for the purpose of what we're doing. And now let's see what that sounds like. That's really cool. Okay, so I actually like this one the best, so I'm actually gonna, this one's not really in time. I'm just chopping it up. That's fun, that is. We can maybe move that one over there, put this one in here. Okay, I think this is fine for now. We can just duplicate this along. We've just got this like nice fabric-y moving thing. Just close that. Cool, so we've got this really nice custom percussive loop, and we can kind of tame it a little bit by getting an EQ on there, EQing some of it just to make it fit. So I cut off a bit of the high end, bit of the low end. Okay, so that's just going to kind of tick along in the background, and we can add some random reverb in there if we wanted. So that's just going to kind of tick along in the background, and I say we go for the bass line next, because we've got kind of like a nice little drum groove. Oh, almost forgot we can compress this percussive loop to our kick, and this will create a much more nice minimal groove. Take out a bit more low end. And we can pan the percussion to give the mix more stereo width. And we could even put a saturator on there to make it sound a bit different. Cool, so we've got our groove going there. Sounds nice. And then we're going to get a bass line, so let's see what they've got for offer here. Really nice bass lines, to be fair. Let's just say we're going to be cheeky and nick a bass line. We'll insert a new audio clip. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Let's see what that sounds like. Cool, so we can work with this for now, and then we can change it later on, maybe write our own bass line. We're just going to bring that down, the compression, sidechain it to the kick, add some saturation to make it sound a little bit different than it is out of the pack, and maybe some post-processing EQ, take out some of the, just a little bit of the sub maybe, cut a little bit here. So we've got our kick group going on, for nice harmony. So it sounds alright, but the bass line needs a bit more movement. So I think we actually sidechained that wrong. Let's try again. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. So we're just going to arrange it now. So 10 minutes of sample selection, and then we can actually consolidate this into a loop. So if we press Command J, it's going to take a while, but we consolidate this whole percussive loop into one loop, and then we can loop that and then extend it throughout the song. So I'll just be thinking about the arrangement process now, and how we can build that intro into a drop, and then into a breakdown, then into an outro. So there we go, we've got that consolidated now. So we just double click on the loop, loop it. We've now got our own custom percussive loop, and now we can just start to bring stuff in slowly, just building that groove. So I really like that synth. We're just going to put that on the breakdown to make it a bit more interesting. Maybe make that synth loop a bit longer. We could send some reverb here just to make this part a bit more interesting. Let's create a little something here to sound quite different. Let's see. Maybe to create that sound of like we're getting rid of it and then bring it back in. Maybe not so extreme, like halfway. Curve that a little bit. End we could get a little snippet of it and just duplicate that over to indicate the drop coming. think we should add something on the second drop here just to give it a bit of variation. Okay, we're going to put a different synth on the drop now, and then that is going to be totally different. We're going to pan that to the left and to the right, EQ it a little bit, go for a little bit of that, cut at 1K, cut a little bit at 100 Hertz. Let's see what that sounds like. Not a huge fan of that. We could get the synth loop again and go for the same thing. So I'm just going to duplicate that, get rid of the doubles, and then just try like this. Yeah, that sounds fine. And then I'm actually going to compress that to the kick drum to give it that side chaining that we need to do. So kind of going to put a heavy side chain on this one. It sounds decent, but I actually want to do a bit more with it, so I'm just going to have a think. Maybe we could try reversing it. Let's see if it might sound really wacky. It can do. No, definitely not. Alright, let's try one more time. I'm going to add an auto pan in there to give it a bit of variation. I'm just going to nab this a little bit, pop that there. And I'm going to add an effects on the half point of this drop as well, just to make it a bit more interesting. So we go here, texture. Oh, that's actually really cool. So I could get that, put that on the drop. Alright, it's really out of control though, so I'm just going to compress it to the kick. Side chain. Really turn it down a lot more for that depth in the mix. It does sound cool, if I'm honest. It kind of layers nicely with the percussion, so I'm just going to litter it throughout the track. We've got that side chain going, with a bit of EQ as well. Sounds like there's some harsh frequencies in there. to add a little variation on this drop where we get rid of the hi-hats. Get some nice little groove going on. Quite happy with that, and then for finishing touches I put a vinyl distortion on the master. And I'm just going to have that pop up in the end of the mix. Vinyl crackle. Lovely. And I could even use this in the start just to build up the track a bit. Give it a little bit of fruitcake-ness. And you know what? I'm just going to duplicate this along to give it that craziness that it needs. So it's a bit extreme, this track, so we're actually just going to reverb out the hats here. I'm just going to copy this, just going to give it like maybe a bit more, something like that, maybe something a bit more like that. Could even do a little cut the high end, something like this. And even cut the volume a bit. You've got to be a freak of the details on this. Bit of delay as well. That definitely sounds better. And I'm going to do something like that, some weird shape, just to make the delay stay for a bit longer. Yeah, I'd say that's acceptable for now. But we do need to add some more stuff. do. So there's a little cut off bit here, so I'm just make sure I do that. For the switch. Okay, so it's looking good, but I want some more wobbly bits on the breakdown. There's actually a little bit going on here, which is nice. So let's see, we're just going to go back to our sample pack. This one, Modern Minimal House. Yeah, that's something like that. We just want that. I'm literally just going to sprinkle this throughout the track. So it sounds like, again, I love just sprinkling things, like little sprinkles on the donuts. Adds a lot to the atmosphere. I'm actually just going to consolidate this because then I can loop it. It's actually just going to save me precious seconds. Loop, loop, loop. Alright. So loop that. Nice. Solid. So actually now this is looping throughout the breakdown. I'm going to obviously add some processing to it to make it more interesting. So I'll get some autofill. And then back. So filter, auto pan. Let's see. Sounds dope. Let's go again. I'm going to try something different, guys, so don't shoot me if it doesn't work. I'm going to sidechain this to the percussive loop, which is here. I'm just going to sidechain that. Just make it all rhythmic. I'm just going to put mono on here to make sure it sounds good, because you have to do that sometimes. Just chucked it on the wrong track. We'll go again. And if an element's too intense, guys, just EQ it a bit and turn the volume down, and then you get a less intense version of that sound. It makes sense, really, if you think about it, but yeah, to turn it down a bit. And if I'm being frank, that is me. I'm happy with the track. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace. I'll get this uploaded as well. Bye.